100 times more suitable than this Mr. Knight, but you jilted him, rendered London speechless for at least," he chuckled, "8 seconds. Until then, didn't know you could lose your temper. What was his name?" A crack appeared in her tranquillity, her hands curled into fists. "Gabriel Ansell, the Earl of Campion." "That's right. The god I'll never forget. Magnificent in your wrath. Reminded me of your mother on a rampage." Madeline didn't want to hear this. She didn't like to be reminded of her rage, or her loss of control, or that night and what followed. Afterward, for the first time in her life, she tossed decorum aside. She'd gone abroad to forget, and hadn't come back until she'd achieved forgetfulness. She never thought of Gabriel anymore. She scarcely remembered his name. "Your mother was just like you, always level-headed, except when she flew into the bows, then the oceans quailed." Turning toward the closed door, Magnus shouted, "More kippers!" Picking up the bell at her elbow, Madeline rang it. The butler answered. Heaton had undoubtedly raced to the kitchen to share the extraordinary news with the household. She addressed Uppington in a composed manner. His Grace would like more kippers. Anything to fill his mouth and stop him from talking about Gabriel, about Lord Campion. Uppington bowed. In his rush to handle yet another of Magnus's situations, he had buttoned his tailed jacket askew. "Aye, my lady." He refilled their plates. Madeline bent her attention to her meal. A less formidable woman would have had her appetite destroyed by Magnus, but if Madeline allowed her father to destroy her appetite every time he scrambled their fortunes, she would be a wraith. She saw no wisdom in that. "Will there be anything else, my lady?" Uppington asked. "Not yet." Although, she reflected, perhaps she should ask for a cricket bat or any blunt object with which to beat sense into her parent. Actually, it was far too late. She knew that, or she might have tried it. She was accounted to have a good swing. "Papa, did you lose the Queen's tiara?" "No, not mine to lose." Magnus actually looked alarmed. "It belongs to you, who will be a duchess in her own right. Your mother wore it in her wedding portrait. Elizabeth herself would come back and haunt me if I wagered the tiara." The Queen's tiara had been given to one of Madeline's ancestors, a lady-in-waiting to Queen Elizabeth I, for saving Elizabeth's life. Solid gold and encrusted with jewels, the tiara was worth a fortune in cash and sentiment, and the Queen decreed that, regardless of their gender, the eldest child of the family would inherit the title. Thus, in the last 222 years, there had been Dukes of Magnus, of course, but there had also been 3 Duchesses of Magnus, girls born first in the family, and who were thus duchesses in their own right. She couldn't help it. She had to ask. "Do you swear it's in the safe?" He huffed. "I swear it's in the safe, and the Dukes and Duchesses of Magnus always keep their word." She hadn't. "Don't know how I got along without you while you were gone, my dear." Magnus provided a brief pat on her arm. "What shall we do today? Good day for hunting. Or perhaps you'd like to ride into the village and visit your old governess, Mrs. Watting." "Watling," Madeline corrected. "I'd like to hear more about this wager." Sincerely puzzled, he asked, "What else is there to know?" "Perhaps the name of my new husband? Or am I to be a mistress?" "Mistress?" Magnus harumphed indignantly. "Good God, daughter, do you think me totally without prudence and sensibility?" Madeline refrained from answering that. "Of course you're not to be his mistress. Chap is to marry you or nothing." Such a relief. She marvelled at her father's equanimity in the face of what was economic and social disaster. "Do I know him?" "No, he's an American, or at least he hailed from the colonies." "I believe they've achieved their independence," Madeline said dryly. Magnus dismissed that fact with an airy wave. "It'll never last. No, Knight's family originated here, and he arrived in London last year. Been making a name for himself in the clubs. Not popular, but I had to play him. Couldn't resist." And that was the problem. Magnus couldn't resist any kind of gaming challenge. Magnus frowned.